Hey everybody, Mike with Canopy4 here, and today we have the new Pet Life Pro DX immunofluorescence analyzer, also known as the successor to the very popular Finecare Vet. I'm really excited to get into this. In this video, we're going to walk through everything you need to know about this analyzer, how it works, how to run it, what else you need to actually run the machine, as well as how to interpret the results. Basically anything you'll need to know to run this machine is included in this video. This is the ultimate video on the new Pro DX by Pet Life, also known as Wanfo. So first, let's look at the unboxing. I'm going to kick it over to my former self. I filmed this about 20 minutes ago, and we'll go through what actually comes in the box and take a closer look at what that experience is like. Hey everybody, Mike with Canopy4, and I'm just going to say it, we have the new Finecare Vet in. I'm going to take a moment to unbox it and show you what's coming. So the new Finecare comes in the new Pet Life branding. That's the way Wanfo is going as opposed to Finecare. They're now doing Pet Life. But enough chat, let's get into this thing. Let's see what Wanfo has come up with. The original Finecare has been out for, I want to say, 4 years now. And, you know, it's a fantastic machine, but it's been a while, and it's about time for an upgrade. So you see here, first thing we're going to see is the power cord. Looks pretty standard. Next is, this must be the power brick as well, pretty standard. And you can see the little silver here. You can see they changed it quite a bit from the traditional plastic look of the last model. So let's take it out. Move over this lovely box. You have this nice foam insert. I'm gonna chuck that out of the way for the moment. Take off the plastic, and voila, this is the new Finecare Pro DX. It looks pretty nice, right? It looks very futuristic, very streamlined, and as you can see, it's similar size to the old Finecare. Has a new styling, Pet Life Pro DX. You'll see the ID card there. This is a transport slider there. Nice touchscreen here. Have a see-through piece on the printer, which is nice. You can see when you're low on paper. Backside here, some information. Let's see. Pet Life Pro DX. Manufacturer date, power supply, model number, all that good stuff. Another cool thing here is they actually have a carry handle. And that's awesome because this new model is actually battery powered. It has up to 21 hours of battery life. All right, I'm going to pause you real quick, and I'm going to turn it on and take a quick look at it. Now the Finecare is plugged in. I did get a little bit too excited. I didn't even look in the rest of the box, so let's take a look and see what's in here. All right, so it looks like we have our user manual. Okay. So we have a operation manual. I love the new branding on this. Pro DX immunofluorescence analyzer, Pet Life. Let's see what's in here. Oh, okay, so they have step-by-step operational things, how to run a test, packaging contents. You even have test principles, so you can figure out how the test actually works. Looks pretty awesome. We'll get into this more later. I just want to see how this thing turns on. Next, packing list. Cool, we'll look at it later. Product certification, awesome. So they're putting these through some trials to make sure they work. I love that. By inspector number 01, the only inspector. All right, quality control card. This thing's pretty cool. This is how you run at least on the former model, this is how you check the optic systems and the hardware was with this little guy here. So make sure to hold on to this too. And the last thing in here is acceptance form. I'm not exactly sure what this is for. Warranty card, okay. Quality guarantee. They've passed international quality certifications, nice. Cool, so it's a quality piece of machinery. Oh, nice, they even have a standard test procedure insert. This is nice because it goes through the details you need to do to actually run the machine, which I'm guessing they have in the full manual as well, but it's nice to have it in a little one-sheeter like this. All right, I know you want to look at the machine. I keep talking about all the stuff that came with it, but I got to look at everything before I look at the main piece. So I'm going to put this stuff back in the bag. All right, so now we have it plugged in. You can see by the green light's charging. So I'm going to turn it on. There's a little power button here on the left side, along with some other connections. I believe you hold this for 3 seconds. There we go. It's on. See the transport come out. That's nice. It automatically goes in when you turn it off. That's pretty cool, especially since it's portable and battery powered. You know what? I could have actually turned it on without. Let's try this. I'm going to unplug power. See? Oh, there we go. Battery power works. Take your Finecare on the go. All right, so there's a password. I was told this is 123456. Enter. Login. All right, we are at the screen. Awesome. Well, thanks, Mike. Now that we've unboxed the new Pro DX, what's actually the difference between this and the Finecare Vet model? Well, there's a few really important things. First, you'll see there's an upgraded screen. This has an 8-inch screen now and is very responsive, much more responsive than the former model. That's a big win. This model is also battery powered. As you can see, it's not plugged in here. And as we went over unboxing, it has this carrying handle. So if you do need to take your Finecare on the go, just use the grabbing handle. Recommend always turning it off before moving around, especially don't move around while you're running a test. It also has a new upgraded menu navigation, which is really easy to use. It's very similar to the old software, but they did take a couple things and make it a little bit easier to use, a little bit easier to find things that you'll need to find. Now, when it comes to numbers, it should read and run the same as your old Finecare. That is a proven platform. Thousands of breeders and vets use it all across the world, so why change something that works well? This model is simply an upgrade with the new screen, the new design, battery powered, and honestly, I think it's pretty worth it. It's not much more expensive than your regular Finecare model. All right, so let's get into the external features. First, we have, as we mentioned, the 8-inch touchscreen here, very responsive, very nice touchscreen. Then up front here, we have the ID chip card. So this is where you'll insert your ID chip to calibrate the machine every time you get a new test kit. As you can see, I press the send out button and it comes out. And put it back in since I am moving it around a little bit. So it's actually the button all the way on your left here. That'll bring the slot back in. So now on the side here, you're gonna have all your connectors and connections. All the way on your left here, you'll have the power button. Turn it on, simply hold it for 3 seconds. Then you'll have your charging port here. This is where you plug in your adapter to charge the unit. Then we have 4 USB connections, a LAN connection, and 2 communications connections. Now most of this you're not going to use. However, if you do need to use them for any reason, they are there. Next on the back here we have the printer. So this is a nice clear color so you can see when you're running low on printer paper. Pop it open. It's a thermal printer, so it doesn't actually have any ink. It prints using heat. So the correct way to put this in is with the mullet style, right? You know, in your bathroom, when you have your toilet paper on the toilet paper holder, you want to use the mullet method and not the beard method. That means you want to have the leading edge of the paper come out from underneath the full roll. Again, we want the mullet, not the beard style. And that's going to make sure your printer works correctly. But that's pretty cool. I like the transparent touch here, very nice. And that's about it for external features. Very handsome looking device, but let's move on to our next item here. Next, I just want to touch really quick on maintenance. So we always recommend to keep the unit off when not in use. Secondly, we always recommend to keep your Finecare in a clean environment. Dust, hair from your dogs can actually cause issues because it can get inside of here. We've seen a lot of units that have been ruined just by dust and hair getting in here. So either cover it up, the dust cover, or keep it in a place where it's not going to get exposed to all those kind of contaminants. And finally, on maintenance, keep it in a room temperature room in your house or in some heated area. If you live somewhere where it's hot, you really don't want this out in the heat. Same thing where it's cold, you do not want it in extreme temperatures. Keep it in your house, keep it somewhere warm and safe, and that will prolong the life of your analyzer here. Next, we're going to talk about it's still in the box. We're going to talk about the principle of the machine. Basically, how does this machine work? By what scientific principle does it work? The Pro DX is a immunofluorescence analyzer. Now that is the same as the prior model and is the same as most analyzers of this type on the market today. It's a very proven method for testing analytes such as progesterone and some other ones, T4, things like that. So now we're going to talk about, like we said, how it works. So the test principle, bear with me, I'm just going to read this as it makes it a bit easier. So the Pro DX uses an LED as an excitation light source. The light from this LED hits a test device that has been inserted into the instrument, which is the test kit. This causes the fluorescent dye in the test device to give off energy. If you notice, I said fluorescent very slowly, but it's because I messed it up about 7 times here, and I hopefully cut that out. The more energy the dye gives off, the stronger the signal. And that corresponds to how many progesterone analytes are in your serum sample. Again, progesterone or other analytes. We mainly deal with progesterone, so that's what I'm focusing on here. But to continue, after a buffer mix sample is added to the test device is inserted into the Pro DX analyzer, and the instrument measures the concentration of the analyte based on pre-programmed calibration. That's why it's so important to make sure every new test kit you get to insert the ID chip and calibrate it. We'll show you how to do that in a minute. This allows the Pro DX to detect how much analyte is in that sample, and that corresponds to the calibration chip, which then will give you a number, which can correspond with your reading chart and tell you what to do with it. Okay, so before we actually go through how to run this machine, there are a few things you will need to have to run this machine correctly. Obviously, first you'll need the machine, but you will also need a few other things. Let me go through them real quick. First, you'll need a centrifuge. This is used to spin down whole blood into serum. Now, there is a whole blood test kit available on the Finecare. However, if you are planning using the serum-based test, you will need a centrifuge. And if you bought the bundle from K9P4.com, everything here I'm showing you will be included in your bundle. So first was a centrifuge. Next is the vortexer. Now this is used to mix up the sample. When you add it into the buffer solution, it provides a much more homogeneous or evenly mixed sample than just inverting it up and down. Now you can do the inversion method, but based on our internal testing, I highly recommend the vortexer. Again, this will come with your bundle. Next, this probably should have been first, but you will need blood draw equipment. You will need to get a blood sample from your dog. Now with the bundle, we include our Total Canine Care blood draw kit. Now this will have everything you need to draw blood, have a tourniquet, have needles, even have centrifuge cups to store the blood, and much more. So if you have the bundle, you're in luck. If not, it's pretty easy to find everything you'll need for a proper blood draw. These are also available at K9P4.com. They're $10 for a pack of 10. All right, next item is a surge protector. Now these units are very sturdy and reliable. In case of electricity surge, I highly recommend having a surge protector. This will make sure if it does happen, your machine isn't fried, and unfortunately, surges are not protected by warranty. So if you don't have one, you didn't get the bundle, make sure to pick up a surge protector and plug your unit into this. Next item you're gonna need is a pipette. This is used to transfer the correct volume of both serum and the serum buffer mixture. It's very important you have a pipette with the correct volume. It's 75 ULs for the progesterone test. If you do not use this, your results will be inaccurate. So make sure to pick up a pipette that goes to 75 UL. That's microliters. Very important, again, included in the bundle. As you'll see in a moment, your Finecare test kit will actually include pipette tips for your pipette. We send racked pipettes because we find that it's much easier to take your pipette and click on a new tip like this in this nice case rather than putting it on by hand. I would highly recommend using tips or a tip case like this. It's much easier and makes the process much more streamlined. Next, in our bundle, we include an extra roll of printer paper. This is also available at our website, K9P4.com. This printer paper will last a while, but eventually you will need to reorder. So in the bundle, we just throw you an extra one. All right, and finally, we have the test kit. It depends on what analyte you're testing for, but if progesterone like this one is, you will need a box like this. They come in packs of 10 and they're about $90. And this is also included with your machine. If you buy from K9P4, bundle or analyzer only, you will get a pack of 10. Next, you will also need centrifuge cups. These are used to spin down the blood in the microcentrifuge. They fit right into the centrifuge like this. You must have these microcentrifuge cups, as bigger tubes will not fit into most microcentrifuges. I definitely recommend using a microcentrifuge, as with a larger centrifuge, you're spinning down much more sample than you need, and it may cause some issues with the sample integrity. All right, next we include in our bundle a sharps container. This is strictly for safety. After you're done pulling the blood from your dog, take that needle, put it right into the sharps container to make sure no one gets poked, whether it's you, the dog, the mailman. It's much safer to put that right here into the sharps container, included with the bundle. And next we have the Wanfo timers and trays. Now this is really cool. This is used with the quick test in the machine, which we'll go through in a minute, and allows you to run a lot more tests at a time as you actually will incubate it outside of the machine, up to 5 at once. So instead of running, 4 tests in an hour, you're running more like 10 or 15. So very cool timer and tray unit here, also included. Next, a messy workstation is no fun for anybody. So what we did, Sam actually, you've probably seen in other videos, custom 3D printed a buffer and centrifuge cup holder. So when you are doing your testing, you put your buffer solution right in here, and you put your centrifuge cup right in here. Much easier to do, you don't have to hold it with your hand, and much more stable for the testing process. Speaking of 3D printed add-ons, we also add in a centrifuge counterbalance. And what this does, so a little tip here, when you are spinning down your blood in centrifuge, you have to make sure that you counterbalance the blood sample with either another blood sample, a centrifuge cup filled with water, or in this case, you can use the 3D printed microcentrifuge balancer. If you do not do this, you actually may destroy your centrifuge, because if you don't have a balance, it's going to shake and cause all kinds of problems. So with the bundle, you get this, recommend using it. It's pretty cool, very easy to use. All right, finally, as you saw in the unboxing, you'll get a QC card with the machine. That's for testing the optics in the hardware of the machine. We'll go through that in a minute. Now we're also including the tri-level QC with the bundle. Now this is used to test the low, mid, and high accuracy of the machine. So if you have this, check it every once in a while, and you'll know for sure if your machine is reading in the right range. Really great peace of mind to ensure your results are accurate and that breeding is going to be a success. All right, so we talked about the Finecare Kit, but let's actually see what's inside here before we start to run a test. So let's open it up. We'll peel off the little plastic sticker here, and this is what is inside the kit. So first, we're going to have our test insert sheet. This will go through the test principle, also how to run the test, warnings, precautions. Give it a read, good information in here. Next, it comes with pipette tips. Again, you will have tips included with every single kit, but I do recommend getting this one here. It's much easier to use, and it makes the process much simpler. Next, we have our calibration ID chip. So this is the chip you're going to use to calibrate the machine. This is what makes sure that the machine is reading the right calibration for these test kits. It will ensure you have an accurate result. So make sure to calibrate. I'll show you that here in a minute. Next, we have the buffer tubes. We'll go through how to use these. Basically, you're going to mix the serum with this, and that's the mixture you're going to run in the test. So we'll go through in a minute. And finally, we have the actual test cartridges themselves. You'll have 10 of these. You actually don't need to refrigerate these. Just keep them at room temperature, similar to the Pro DX. Anywhere where the temperature is stable, not too hot, not too cold, these will be safe there. All right, so we're almost ready to run a test, but first, let's calibrate the machine to make sure we have accurate results. So let's open up our box that I just closed rather foolishly. We're gonna take the chip ID here, open it up, and we're gonna plug it into the ID chip slot here. So it just slides in and it should be snug. On the menu, there is an ID chip button, so click that. So what it's doing now is reading the calibration curve of this chip and uploading it to the machine, and it'll use that curve for the results on this test we're about to run. So it asks you to confirm, just say confirm, and then you can always take this out and save it with the actual test box like that. Very simple. That is all calibration is. Very easy to do. It saves you a lot of time compared to other analyzers who require more in-depth calibration. All right, now that we've gone through the basics of the machine, let's take a look at the menu. Now the menu is very similar to the old Finecare unit, however there are some changes I would like to point out here. First, you'll see on the front page, slot reset, slot out, ID chip, print, and start test along the bottom. Slot reset and slot out are going to reset the transport. That's the piece that we're showing here that you place the test cartridge in, and it goes into the machine. So to get it back out, click slot out and click slot reset to have it go back in. As we mentioned in the calibration portion, ID chip, you press this is how you read your new ID chip. Print, this is how you manually print your results if you do not have auto print set up. And I'll show you how to set up auto print in a minute. I always recommend using auto print as it'll just auto print much easier. Start test, we'll use this button when we actually want to begin our test. Result display, this is where all your results will show up. The actual number, the type of test you ran, the result, and what time it was at as well. Now on the top here we have basic information. Definitely recommend filling this out for each test, as you can put in the animal name, the medical record number. That's a great way to track which test in the progression of tests it is, and some other options. So we'll click edit details here. Animal name, you can fill this out. Our dog's name is Jojo. Again, like I mentioned, this touchscreen is much more sensitive than the prior one. Gender, female. Medical record number, we'll put in as 1. You also have the option to put weight, since we are mostly in the US. I guess we'll stick with kg. Looks like the options for weight are kilograms and grams. So kilograms, we use that. 20 kilograms. You can add the age over here, in years or in months, days, hours as well. Add owner's name. It's my dog we're testing. And inspector. So this would be used if someone was inspecting what you're doing, generally used for a hospital setting. But if you work in a clinic or have high volume breeding and you have someone overwatching and supervising, you can also put their name here. All right, confirm. And now when we run our tests, all this information will print out on our test printout sheet, which is pretty awesome. On the right side of the screen, you'll see test mode. We have quick test and we have standard test. Generally, I always recommend using standard test. The machine does require a 15-minute incubation time before the test runs. If you're running one test at a time, definitely use standard test. It'll incubate inside the machine. You'll see a timer pop up. But quick test is a great way to batch multiple tests and run them much quicker. And I'll go through that in a little bit here on how to use it, but generally, stick with standard test here. All right, that takes care of the home page. Let's move on to the history page. And this is where all your prior tests will be saved. All the information we entered on the test details sheet will show up here as well. Sample ID, item, result, sample type, inspection time, animal name, all that info will show up here. Now we haven't actually ran anything on this machine, so there's nothing in the history. However, I'll show you after we run the test how it'll show up here. Another important thing is query. This will only show the test for the last 30 days. So if you have a test you want to look at from longer than 30 days, click on the query button. Set the inspection date from whatever date you want to start. You can even go back to 2022. Confirm until today. And now it's going to show you every single test they performed in that time frame. Again, we have not run any tests on this machine, so nothing will show up. But if you're not seeing your prior tests, query is the way to find it. And finally, you can also print those results as well using the print button here. All right, and that takes care of our history page. Next, we'll go to terminal. This is where you have your user settings. If you have more than one user, you can add them here. On this page, I'd recommend clicking auto print. That means after you run every test, it'll print out the result for you automatically. You can also set the hospital name and hospital phone, and this will print out on the top of the result sheet every time it prints. So you can use the name of your kennel, name of your company, anything you would like there. Statistical set we can ignore. Currently, there is no use for the Wi-Fi setting here. However, Wanfo is working on a LIS option that would use this Wi-Fi option here. Bluetooth setting, we also will not use this for now. There may be something in the future we use this for, but currently nothing. Network setting, this is for LIS, which you currently won't use. Local setting, this is for IP address and things like that, so we also will not use this. Next, we have QC under System. This is where you can run your QC test, and this will allow you to check the hardware of the unit, the optical drive, and things like that. Recommend running this once every couple months, or if you're suspecting a problem, we'll go through this in more detail at the end of the video. Next, we have SN code, and this is where you can find your serial number in the software, which is very nice. Next is time and date. This allows you to set the time and date to your specific region. You can select the date and the time on this screen and save it. Again, that's under System, Set, Time and Date. Next, we have Mode. This will allow you to modify the password. Again, it comes in set as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. However, if you would like to change it, you can change it on this screen here. Power Set Management. This allows you to enable automatic sleeping or shutdown after 5 to 30 minutes of the machine not being in use. Screen Set. This allows you to adjust the brightness of the machine. Take the scroll bar here and adjust that brightness. And Sample ID Set we can ignore. Alright, now we'll go under System to the Function menu. We can ignore this as well. Next, under System, we have Consumables. All the ID chips that you load onto your device will show up here. Finally, Advanced Set. You can ignore this as well. And that takes us through the walkthrough of the menu. The last button on top here is Shutdown. Simply click that, click Confirm Powered Off, and that will shut off your machine. And now we are finally ready to run a test. Now we're going to walk through this step by step. And first thing you want to do is make sure your dog is ready for the test. Now what do I mean by that? To ensure you have a quality serum sample, we recommend having your dog fast for 12 hours before you pull their blood. This will ensure there's no extra fats in the blood, which can cause issues. Step 2, draw the blood from your dog. Once you have drawn the blood from your dog, what you'll want to do is immediately remove the needle portion off the syringe here and put it into your sharps container. Transfer it immediately into a microcentrifuge cup, like so. We're looking to fill it up at least 3/4 of the way. All right. Then we can also dispose of the syringe. Next, we're going to allow the blood to clot for 10 minutes. So take your sample, place it into the 3D printed holder here, set a timer for 10 minutes, and allow the sample to clot. All right, so the 10 minutes has passed, giving our sample ample time to clot. Now let's place it in the centrifuge and allow it to spin for another 10 minutes. Again, we want to make sure that we balance the centrifuge with a counterweight, either the 3D printed counterweight or a second microcentrifuge cup filled to the same volume. We're going to close it, start it, and allow to spin for 10 minutes. All right, so now our 10 minutes is up. Let's take a look at our sample. In this demonstration, I'm just using water. However, I'll place a picture of what a good serum separation looks like. You're going to want to use only the serum. You'll see a clear separation of serum and whole blood cells. If your sample looks really cloudy or very red, give us a call at 844-673-7378, as these sample issues may cause inaccuracies on your machine. But we got a good sample here, let's assume. So now we are ready to separate the serum from the rest of the blood. We're also going to take out a cartridge and a buffer tube at this point. So let's take one buffer tube from this bag here and place it in the 3D printed holder. We'll place our cartridge here, and we're going to open that as soon as we're ready to actually run the test. All right, next we're going to utilize our pipette. First things first, if you're on progesterone, make sure it's set to 75 UL. You'll see a 075-0. That means 75 UL, very important. So open up your rack of pipette tips here. Take your pipette, firmly push it down into a pipette tip. It should have a nice snug fit there. We don't want it loose, as that can cause some issues with volume. We have a more in-depth video, I'll link in the description below. But for our demonstration purposes, I'll show you how to do it very quickly. So, there are 2 stops in this pipette. The first one, if you push down lightly, it'll naturally come to a stop. However, if you keep pushing, you can make it go down farther. So take a second and get used to that first stop and second stop. So it's important to note, whenever you're drawing up liquid, push down to the first stop here. Open up your liquid. Again, this is serum. We're going to make sure to only get the serum, so put it in only slightly. Release. This ensures we only drew up 75 UL, not more. Take our buffer cartridge, open it up, and dispense the liquid by going all the way to the second stop into the buffer tube. You can discard this pipette tip. Always make sure to change your pipette tip with each draw. We have our buffer and serum mixture here, and our next step is to vortex the sample. Take your buffer tube, place it in the hole in the center of the vortexer. Simply push down and count to 3. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. And now we have a very homogeneous mixture between the serum and the buffer solution. Move that to the side and place this back into our holder here. Next, grab a new pipette tip, place it firmly, and now we can open up our test cartridge, place it where it's easy to view. You'll notice there is a well, a circular well in the front. This is where you're going to place your sample in. Again, ensure your pipette is set to 75 UL. Open up your buffer serum tube. Press down to the first stop. Go into the middle portion of the mixture. Release. And now we have 75 UL of that mixture. Now take what you just drew up with the pipette, align it with the circular hole in the cartridge, and slowly push down to the second stop. Discard tip. And now we can actually run the test. So I'm going to come across to the front here. My best to get out of the shot. We're going to make sure we're set on standard test here. We'll put the slot out. We'll place it with the circular hole up front into the machine, pushing all the way in, and then click Start Test. It's going to ask you if you are sure you want to select this sample type. If you're running a serum test, you can click OK, confirm. If not, if you're running a whole blood test, click the drop-down menu, select whatever sample you're running, and then click Confirm. And now the incubation process started. It's counting down from 900 seconds or 15 minutes. And as soon as this timer is up, we'll have a result. All right, so it's been 15 minutes. Our test is done. And we received a 2.26. Let's also print that as well. As you can see, it prints out very nicely with all the information we added at the beginning of this. I'm going to kick it over to Sam. He's going to walk you through the reading and timing chart so that you'll know exactly what to do with the numbers that you get. All right, thanks, Sam. Now you know what those numbers mean, and you know exactly when to breed. The last thing I'm going to go over here is troubleshooting. There are 3 different tests you can perform to see if your machine is working properly. The first one we'll have you do is the precision test. The first one is the precision test. This test is designed to make sure the machine is reading the same number multiple times in a row. So what we're going to do is click on Quick Test, take an old used test cartridge, the one that we just used will work fine, and place it in the machine, and all you're going to do is run it 5 times in a row on Quick Test. Confirm. We get a 1.76, we'll print that. We're going to run it one more time. We're going to run it a total of 5 times. 1.75. 1.74, 1.74 again, 1.73. So what you're looking for in this precision test is that all these results should be pretty much the same. They may be slightly different, but as long as they're close within a point of each other, that means your machine is reading precisely. If it doesn't read like this and there's a wide range on the results of your precision test, please let us know right away. The next troubleshooting test is the QC test. So for in the home screen, click the System, then click QC. Take your silver pouch here, take the test cartridge out of the silver pouch, place it into the machine like so, then click QC. And this is going to test the optical system, the transmission system, and the circuit system. Alright, complete. As you can see in result here, optics is normal, transmission is normal, circuit system is normal. Now if you run this and you get an abnormal on any one of these metrics here, please let us know right away. And the third troubleshooting option is to use the tri-level QC. Now this little thing is pretty cool. What it does, it checks the low, mid, and high to make sure they're all reading accurately. There are 3 cartridges included, and one is the low, one's the mid, one's the high, and there's expected results with each one. So what we do is we take the included ID chip, insert it into the machine, read the ID chip, confirm. Then we're going to take the low level first. You can see which level it is based on the writing on each one. That's the high, so we're going to skip to that one. Now this is the low, so we're going to run it. First we'll put the slot out, remove that, place this with the barcode in first. You want to ensure you're on quick test and click start test. Looks like we had a 4.9, and based on our chart here for low, the range is 4 to 6, so the low end is working accurately. Next we'll do the mid. We're going to do exactly the same thing. Place it in the machine and run on quick mode. We got 20.4. Based on our chart, it's 19 to 21, so mid is reading accurately as well. And finally, we will do the high test. Place in the machine, quick test, start test. Received a 40.3. Our range is 39 to 41, so the high is reading accurately as well. This is a great way to check to make sure your numbers are accurate. Recommend doing it every month or so, or as much as you would like. Before we end here, there's 2 more things I want to show you. First, I want to walk through what quick test actually does with the timers and trays here. So, when you select quick test on the machine, what it does is it skips the 15 minutes of incubation time. So if you're going to use quick test, you need to utilize a timer set like this. What you can do is prepare your samples, prepare one, place the serum into the cartridge, set it into the slot like this, set timer 15 minutes, and start it. You can do this for up to 5 tests. Once the timer hits 0, make sure you're in quick test and start the test. This allows you to run a lot more tests much quicker, but it's really important that the tests actually incubate for 15 minutes. So you cannot skip the 15 minutes. Quick test is only to be used when you're incubating outside of the machine with a timer tray such as this. A great way to accomplish much more testing in a short period of time. Now that we have completed our test, I also wanted to show you what history would look like. So we have a bunch of samples in here now. As you can see, it'll show you sample ID, item, result, sample type, inspection time, animal name as well, all within the history module. All right, so thanks for sticking with me. That will conclude our walkthrough of the Pro DX. You can visit us at k9p4.com or call us at 844-673-7378 with any questions. This video and a lot more training videos are available on our training portal at k9p4.com. We're really excited about the new Pro DX. I hope you are too. Any questions you have or concerns you may have, please give us a shout. We're here to serve you. We want to make sure your machine is working for you the way it should. Have a great day and thanks for watching.